What's up, guys? It's your boy Zawolki, back at it with another of the Chris Watts videos. And today we're going to be taking a look at another YouTube channel that I definitely do enjoy watching, which is Martin Decoder. Now, this man analyzes and takes a look at different personality traits, how people's mannerisms are, and stuff like that. And this guy has pretty much got Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger down to a T. This one he had posted not too long ago of Chris Watts' chilling words expose these disturbing personality traits that should never be ignored. So if you guys have ever seen these in other people, watch out, because this could be something that may be bad in the future. But before we go any further, you guys could do a solid favor for myself and Martin Decoder. Go to our YouTube channels, which you're already on my channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting the white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one, because we'll get that little ring notification that I posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you so very much for that love and support you guys continuously show on this channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and we'll continue to keep growing. And then, like I said before, go over to Martin Decoder. Link is in the description. Go over to his channel, subscribe, enjoy the content that he has on there. He's got tons of stuff to watch. Why not? You have nothing better to do besides, because you're probably watching this on the toilet right now. And you're probably like, how does Wookie know that? Because I'm one of those people too. But with that being said, let's get into the video.
He was quiet and he got along with people. Bella was just like Chris. Shy, cautious, conservative.
And yet, murdered his daughter.
I would have never in a million years thought something like this could happen to him.
Because of NK.
What do Chris Watts' statements reveal about his personality? What are some of his most worrying personality traits? And how do we identify deceptive language? Looking at key moments from Watts' interrogation, prison interview, and TV interviews, these are the questions this statement analysis will look at. If you're excited about language, you've come to the right place. On this channel, we look at what criminals and influential people say, using a variety of linguistic theories and methods.
At first, I didn't really like this guy's channel, because I wouldn't say I didn't like his channel. I was more or less confused about the languages and stuff like that when it comes to person's body type, like their mannerisms and stuff like that. And just watching a lot of his videos, I've learned to learn different aspects and traits and so forth like that. And I've definitely learned to love this channel.
Welcome aboard, and if you've been here before, welcome back.
I just find it hard to hear you talk about just having this emotional, conversation with Shanann, and you're bawling and crying together, and you have not shed one tear in 2 days that you've been here. Not one. And help me understand that, because I don't get it. These are your baby girls, and you have not shed one tear over them not being around.
Watts is at a loss for words. With her assessment, Agent Lee has now completed her first pair part. Conversations consist of first pair parts and second pair parts. When you ask someone a question, you expect an answer, and when you give an assessment, you expect some kind of acknowledgement. That's why they're called adjacency pairs. Here, 3 seconds pass without Watts' acknowledgement, without a second pair part. In conversations, and especially in a high-pressure situation like this,
he literally just sat there and looked at them. There was silence for like 54 seconds. How uncomfortable would that have been? He was trying to figure out the words to come up with. He was dumbfounded. But then until Tammy Lee gave him an out by not blaming Shanann, but using it as a way to get into his psyche, to get him to confess, which it did work, but it's definitely awkward in this interview.
This is a rather long time and indicates that the second pair part speaker finds the first pair part problematic for some reason. As I pointed out in my previous video, Watts uses hyperbolic language or exaggerated language to claim innocence. Language that reveals that he's more worried about the agent's perception of him than his family's whereabouts and
like NK did. She was more worried about people wondering what she was going to be like, or how she was going to interpret things, or how she was going to be portrayed from others. That's why she came forth to law enforcement, not to give them any info, because I've watched her interviews and none of it helped them in their case. Half the time she sat there and said, I don't know. I can't remember. I'm super tired. I'm exhausted. Like, none of it made sense.
Safety.
I don't know where they're at. Honestly, I do not know where they are at.
He's definitely not good
I
at
want them back. I want everybody back.
having a poker face.
That is the God's honest truth.
When Lee brings up the simple issue of feelings, Watts has no answer, because feelings are immediate and can't be controlled. Thus, feelings are the opposite of the lies he tells. After this pause, Watts tries to regain control by imitating the emotions that he knows he should be feeling, but isn't feeling.
Starts crying a little bit.
Chris, I lose my 4-year-old in the store for 10 seconds and I start to go panic. Panic. I have not seen any of that from you at all. Help me understand that.
I love those girls. I would never do any of this because I haven't shed a tear. You get
Yeah,
it?
no, that's weird. Is that weird?
Don't look into that like I don't love my
Well,
kids. I
tell
love
me,
my
explain to
wife.
me. You're crying with your wife that you're leaving her.
Watts is an imitator. When the agents bring up something he hasn't shown them
watches
yet,
it and then
in this case
reiterates.
emotion, he immediately tries to fake it, which unintentionally reveals that he's not emotional, but cunning.
Is that weird?
Don't.
He can't complete his denial, but makes a self-repair.
I would never do any of this because I haven't shed a tear.
Would never is non-committal, not specific to the topic at hand. It means that he wouldn't do anything, not that he didn't do anything. So a person who wouldn't commit a crime could still have committed said crime. Also, he doesn't actually say that he loves his family. He phrases this in the negative, prefaced with the imperative don't, persuading Lee. His primary concern is how...
You know, I'm hoping if Martin Decoder sees my YouTube video, thank you very much for watching my video, or my reaction to your video, but he needs to get in on it with NK, because this man is going to tear NK apart in her way of talking. Because literally what he's saying about Chris right now, and everything that he's doing, his mannerisms, his talk, his language, as you will, NK would have been exploded by a default. Like, she would have been so, like, how do I say it? Exposed. I'm hoping that one day this happens, but I'm getting scared more and more every day that this won't reopen.
How the agents will perceive him, which suggests guilty knowledge. He uses minimizing language,
Just because I haven't shed a tear.
downplaying his failure to show emotions, even though not having shed a tear is indeed strange. Conversely, in a different kind of interview, Watts found time for banter.
Shanann went to... Where'd you get that shirt?
Oh, this is I think she got it off Amazon, but this is my favorite college sports team.
Wasn't she just there?
She was, yeah, just in North Carolina. Yep. So she actually probably got it from there. Usually she gets stuff from Amazon, but this one, I like these shirts a lot.
It's so awkward for him to talk about Shanann like she's still alive, but yet he knows exactly where she is, under the ground. Oh, I got this, or she got this shirt for me from like, it's so sickening.
His lack of concern
then
resulted
people
in other
defend him.
unexpected answers.
So how would she have left the house if she did leave the house without anybody?
I don't want to put anything out there, like just suspecting like if something like somebody pulled in the back, and because we have a driveway back there from the new townhomes, but.
See, that's where that phrase right there gets me every time. He's like, it might be like they came from the back. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Because I believe that Shanann was taken out the back, because we never see the evidence that she was taken out the front. There's no way she could have fit in the truck. I've said this thousands of times. The dimensions of a pregnant woman and the dimensions of the truck do not add up. There's no room in the bed of the truck because there's tons of crates. There's a ton of steel cases. There's piping back there. There's no room. She was not taken out the front. You can't tell me otherwise.
It's so hard to tell. Like, there's no cameras in the backyard or anything like that, so it's really hard to even suspect anything right now as far as how she could have left, or if someone came picked her up, or if someone took her.
Typically, relatives will put everything out there, and it's the investigator's job to keep the relatives under control. Watts, however, rationalizes when he's expected to be emotional, irrational even.
He laughs.
You can't just drive around and look. I mean, it's just like, you wouldn't really know what you're looking for. That's what the cops pretty much told me. That first day I was like, I want to get out and drive around. They said, you wouldn't know what to look for. It's really hard to even suspect anything right now.
He doesn't want to put anything out there because he doesn't want people to suspect him. Most times, Watts' words misalign with his facial expressions.
Last night, I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here.
People with guilty knowledge only care about themselves.
And it's funny that he says that we look at his face and how he was kind of like doing the, I mean, it's harder to look at Nicole's face since she's so far away from the camera. But she does that exaggerating on her mannerisms with her hands, and they're so little. Why? Like, and people are telling us that Nicole Kessinger is innocent. She's guilty of something. We just can't put our finger on it. And that's why we do these videos, to hopefully see that, hey, look, all this stuff here you go. But then the law enforcement guys are like, no thanks. Why?
About giving a good impression to avoid suspicion.
What is it gonna
Thus,
hurt?
they'll use hyperboles and overemphasis to pretend like they care.
Just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me.
Watts uses exaggerated language to compensate for his lack of real emotions, and for his lack of ability to even fake emotions. As a result of this, and especially because his word choice misaligns with his body language, what he says ends up sounding contrived. It's a sign that he's more concerned with people getting the right impression of him, not that he's actually telling how he feels.
And it's just earth-shattering.
It's heart-wrenching, it's earth-shattering right now because
I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from.
That you made.
This doesn't seem real at all. It just seems like I'm living in a nightmare and I can't get out of it. I'm just hoping right now that she's somewhere safe and maybe she's there. But right now it's just like...
Maybe she's just there? You mean under the ground where you buried her?
If she's vanished, like, I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
There isn't any depth to the deep words he uses.
I feel like I'm losing brain cells watching his interviews over and over and over. And NK's.
Because there isn't any depth to his emotions. Watts can't fake sincerity, and his deceptive strategies mean nothing without sincerity, even though he thinks he's smarter than agents and reporters. That's why he's lying in the first place. The next excerpt highlights Watts' self-focus.
I'm going to ask some kind of tough questions about your relationship with your kids.
I mean, yeah, my kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. I miss telling them, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, you know, and just like, you're not going to get your snack after. I miss that. Like, I miss them, you know, cuddle up on their couches. It was tearing me apart last night, and I needed that. I needed that last night. And for nobody to be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on, and I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on. I want everybody to just come home. Like, wherever they're at, come home. That's what I want.
Watts focuses on what his family makes him feel, allegedly. Their smiles light up his life, He misses telling them to eat, and this is tearing him apart. Why is he concerned with what he needs? What about his family's needs right now as they're talking? He talks about his family as a closed chapter. He already says, I miss that, even though it's only been one night. He knows they aren't coming back, and his own language unintentionally points to that.
If she can watch these, what would you like to tell your wife and your kids?
Shanann, Bella, Celeste.
He closes his eyes a lot. Obviously that he's like lying. And he's trying to figure out what to say. As in NK doing the exact same thing when she would be like, I don't remember. I'm really confused. I just don't know. Kind of doing all this like stuff like, what are you doing? Answer the dang question.
If you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
That's it.
Watts says this while shaking his head no and pursing his lips. Pursed lips often suggest that a person's holding something back. Now we know what he was holding back. Even when he's supposed to address his family, he can't consistently use language that indicates closeness. He says everybody and anybody. He doesn't say without you here, but without anybody here.
You're also, your second thought is that you're afraid people think you may have done something.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion on anything like this. I just want people to know that I want my family back. Like, I want them safe, and I want them here. Like, this house is not the same. I mean, last night was traumatic. Last night was.
I hope they screamed and caused him so much like anxiety and depression because he did what he did.
I can't really stay in this house again, like, with nobody here.
Yeah, the interviewer's question results in Watts making self-repairs.
Yeah, I mean, nothing.
With you, the interviewer referred to Watts, trying to make him elaborate on his fear. Watts, however, answers indirectly by changing you to everybody, taking the focus off of him grammatically.
Everybody's gonna have their own opinion on anything like this. I just want people to know that I want my family back.
Oh, we got our opinions.
Here, we see what happens when the interviewer brings up suspicion. Watts goes into script mode, memorizing his script in order to overemphasize and persuade, as if this is a competition to sound as emotional as possible. And I believe what he says. He wants people to know this. What he doesn't say is that he wants people to know this so that they won't suspect him. This observation is in line with his predominant focus on himself throughout these interviews. He's constantly preoccupied with image. Once again, there's a misalignment between his words and facial expressions.
Last night was traumatic. Last night was...
The adverb really modifies a statement.
I can't really stay in this house again, like...
Here, it detracts from his claim that he can't stay in the house again. Like when someone says, we don't really know each other, suggesting that two people actually do know each other, just not really.
Man,
however,
so
they define that. The word nobody is distancing, as if he isn't referring to his family.
With nobody here.
And he keeps overemphasizing, overcompensating for the emotions that he can express naturally and
like NK did?
Believably.
And last night I wanted that knock on the door. I wanted to see this kid just run in, just barrel rush me and just give me a hug and knock me on the ground. But that didn't happen.
No, you put them in batteries.
Just like barrel rushing me.
He says this as if adding more descriptions will make him seem more convincing, even though the opposite is true. Because it's not the words that count, and definitely not rehearsed words that sound like they come from a script. Watts needs a script, as I call it. He needs rehearsed words, because he can't reliably show what he doesn't have, emotions for his missing family. In the prison interview, Watts gave more clues to his personality. This is how he talks about his crime.
And every time I think about it, I'm just like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top of her? I don't know.
Yeah.
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris.
He did say that he had planned this for quite a while.
You don't know if you knew.
Just like everything that happened that morning, I don't know, like I try to go back in my head, I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did it. And everything just kind of like...
Felt like you had to?
It just felt like it was... I don't even want to say it felt like I had to. It just felt like there was already something in my mind that I was implanted that I was going to do it, and then I woke up that morning, it was going to happen, and I had no control of it.
Something is a vague word. This vagueness corresponds to his narrative about not knowing what he did. Grammatically, Watts leaves himself out of the picture. Was implanted foreshadows that this was allegedly out of his control, as he ultimately ends up claiming. It was gonna happen suggests that he didn't have a choice and minimizes his agency. The fact that these were his own conscious plans and decisions. It's common for criminals like Watts, who don't experience emotions like most people do, to talk about themselves as being controlled, almost as if a separate entity made them do it. That's why investigators frequently bring up the idea of two entities, to make it easier for the suspect to confess, because the suspect can then blame the other person for his actions.
This just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. So can we talk about
You can see he's
two
caught.
Chris's? Okay. Two Chris's. The tale of two Chris's? Okay. And you need to help me know which Chris I'm looking at today, and which Chris you really are.
However, obviously, there's only one person, and only one person to blame. Making it sound like they couldn't help it is merely an effective way to try and garner sympathy.
I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long, 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
Almost kind of felt like it was longer almost, because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
Next, Watts continues with self-serving descriptions.
Did you look at her? How was she doing?
She wasn't fighting.
He wasn't asked what she
You can't tell me that woman didn't try to fight. If she knew she was being murdered, she would have fought. I think he caught her off guard. She didn't realize what was happening at the moment, and that's how he killed her. I don't think they were trying to have intimacy. That, whatever. But, again, what are your guys' thoughts on that part?
wasn't doing. He was asked what she was doing. Answering in the negative indicates that this question is sensitive to him.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was just. I read the Bible. It said, where the scripture says, "Don't forgive these people, for they do not know what they do." Mm-hmm. Maybe she was saying that. I don't know what she was saying in her head.
The Bible contains many other scriptures that he could have used instead. However, he chooses this particular scripture, most likely because he can use the scripture or his self-serving interpretation of it to imply that he didn't know what he was doing, which is exactly what his previous statements have implied. Thus, it's also implied that he should be forgiven. What's next? Don't judge.
There's one.
I know that a lot of people do think that forgiveness is needed in certain aspects, which, yeah, if you steal a cookie or you steal some money, I mean, burglary, obviously thou shalt not steal. But, and again, we're led to believe that God believes that everything that's in the 10 Commandments is equally wrong. We think murder is worse than the lying or whatever have you. But you can forgive somebody for lying, but can you forgive for murder? I don't know if I would be able to. I mean, it probably would eat me up inside if somebody murdered my family or murdered a sibling or a parent. Like, I don't know if I could say I could forgive that. So,
church service, the only one I've been able to go to in here, and it said you're not defined by one moment in your life. And I think that's like people are defining me by one moment in my life.
I think he's interpreting the Bible wrong. We're going to judge this man on one part of his life. He doesn't want us to, but this is really bad for us not to judge you.
I don't know what happened before or what can happen later. Yeah. So I just hope that, hopefully one day people can stop judging everybody.
I guess so. The fact that Watts thinks he's still in a position to reprimand people for judging and euphemize his horrific crime as one moment in time, as if that's supposed to be relatable somehow, suggests a lack of guilt and a prominent sense of self-importance. That's it for now. If you liked the video, click the like button. Until next time.
I hope he does more. I honestly hope he does a Chris Watts or a
Like when I got home
Nicole
yesterday,
Kessinger
it was like a ghost town. Like she wasn't here. Kids weren't here.
So with that being said, comment down below. Have you seen these traits before? Have you witnessed them in other people? Did you call this when you first saw Chris? Do you think that these traits that we watched on Chris can be exposed for Nicole? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button on both channels. Lets us know that you guys enjoy the content that we're giving you guys out. My reaction and commentating on these videos. And his work on his videos to show us that, yep, Chris was completely exposed. And we need to watch out for it. So again, thank you very much for watching. Please take care. Be safe. Keep nerding on. And we will see you guys in the next video.